by this year runs down, Biafra will be declared, and we might not witness this 2027 election, and Tinubu will be the last president. I've said this thing long ago, and another man don't really talk him. All those videos they on this particular video. I go play the video where the man still talk him. I been talk him before. Many people think say they joke, or many people think say not just to post video. But this is reality. If you look at what is going on ground, you see that the pressure is massively on Tinubu right now. The pressure we did Tinubu right now, they might not tell you what they are passing through, and they might not tell you within they face, but that's the sad reality on ground right now. People will follow the body languages of the president and his actions, and within US they do, you go understand that the man is pressed. So in no distant time, Biafra will be declared. So Tinubu will be the last president where Nigeria go get, because he have no option than to do the right thing. He will like to protect his own legacy, protect his own things we say he don't do, because in matter day for US stable one, and now US don't even send sanction so many politicians. So a lot of things we say they call Nigerians right now, and now the pressure done on him. So I'm not going to just take much of your time. I could just want you to watch this video from the starting to the ending. This is the end of Nigeria. This is in fact, the road for Nigeria don't end, because this division of a thing, they don't already make up their mind that division must happen in Nigeria. So it's no longer a news right now. Everybody is aware about this. So I'm not going to talk much. Watch this video from the starting to the end. Share this video to everyone on every social media platform, and drop your opinion at the comment section. What you think, drop it at the comment section. Don't forget to click the subscribe button for more updates, so that we're going to give you updates on every single thing that go on in Nigeria and in Biafra land. The end of Nigeria is now, and Biafra is coming, and freedom for Mazen Alikal. Right, freedom for Mazen Alikal, and freedom for the people of Biafra. Thank you.
The way I see him, if care is not taken, Tinubu will be the last president of Nigeria. Because you see this matter of dividing Nigeria, they are pushing it hard. Yes, and I think Israel is not joking, or Netanyahu is not joking. US is this one that is on the neck of Tinubu. If all the information I'm hearing is true, allegedly, Tinubu may be the last president, or he might not win this election. Take it or you leave it.
There is a very popular and reality proverb in Igbo, and the proverb says, Ngakpa malu na-ekpe azụ. In English, they will always say, "Had I know" is the last comment of a fool. Oh yes. Now, before I say anything further, I want to allow you to watch this 30 seconds video. Then, after watching it, I will tell you something that will surprise you. Please listen to this video.
For the past 2 years, I have told folks that I have decided to say good night to Nigeria, because after 30 years of the struggle for a better Nigeria, particularly having to be in the commission for 10 years, I consider all those 10 years with what is going on as a waste of my precious life.
Now, the person you just listened to is not just an ordinary person that was picked on the road. No, he was the former INEC chief speaker. Mike Ahamba is his name. So he was on Channels television yesterday, and he granted this interview. And he said that, all his years of service, that they are all wasted years. And that was why I gave you that proverb, that Ngakpa malu na-ekpe azụ. Now, from what he said, he also said that, okay, let's start from here. For the past 2 years, I have told folks that I have decided to say good night to Nigeria. For those of you that are English teachers, you will bear with me that in some context where good night is used, it is signaling the end of something. For English teachers to understand that, and that is why, you know, most especially in the southeast part of Nigeria, when they are doing burial, You know, we bring those t-shirts that we used to, you know, give our brothers and sisters. We write at the back, good night, mama, or good night, daddy, or good night, brother. It means that that person, or it is signaling that that person has come to the end of his life. So Mike Ageni is saying good night to Nigeria. The second thing he said is because after 30 years, the struggle for a better Nigeria with what is going on, I consider those years a waste of my precious life. A waste of my precious life. Somebody who has served and worked for Nigeria is saying that he's regretting that all those years were all waste. Now, I want to ask you now, do you want your life to be a waste? I don't know how many of you saw what happened in the National Assembly yesterday. Did you? Let me show you a bit of it.
Drew his call for division. He was attacked on the social media. He has a right. Yes, it's an opportunity for him to correct it. So what Senator Baribe is asking for, Senator Plan, what Senator Baribe is asking for is that he would like to be seen there in the social media.
Mr. President, that is not true. I am talking for Nigerians, not from Senator Baribe. I want Nigerians to know. I want Nigerians to know.
Okay, Senator. Okay, so Senator Baribe. Senator Vito, man, don't distract Senator Baribe.
Having seen all this, you will know that there is fire on the mountain. So I want to ask you again, are you saying good night to Nigeria or are you saying good morning to Nigeria? Now, listen to Mike and hear what he said about Nigeria. Then you drop your comment in the comment section what to think. Good night or good morning. Please listen to him.
Number two, it should be noted that the greatest promise of democracy, why it is embraced, it is essentially because it brings about participation and accountability in the process of human development. Shown as at 2012, we came to the commission in 2010. The commission has carried out innovations, realizing the fact that any institution or society that fails to embrace innovation will suffer decay and chaos. On the issue of transmission of results, let me state this emphatically, that in 2021, the Independent National Electoral Commission, where I served for 10 years, that I consider as wasted years of my own legal practice, the commission issued a comprehensive statement, just as what is going on today, this debate. INEC is absent in this debate. INEC is isolated. It is INEC that conducts election. Whether there is capacity, whether INEC is ready, whether there are infrastructure to support e-transmission, the commission is expected to speak. And indeed, INEC has spoken before. This is not a first.
Documents that should be released. INEC was clear, very unequivocal, that with respect to e-transmission, the commission was ready, entrusting the public their public support, and three, that indeed the technology.
The technology, as well as the infrastructure required to do this, was available. That was a public statement before the enactment of the 2022 Act. Regrettably, as I've told Nigerians before, that what appears to be the greatest link, the weakest link in the line of the defense of democracy and the rule of law is my constituency, the judiciary. You refer to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court, the problem we're having today is brought about by the first courts. How? Since 1979 up till 2015, or 2007 precisely, and 2011, the apex courts had always made the point clear. And you check all INEC documents, you will find that every document to be released for public, it will state that elections are guided by three principal laws: the Constitution, the Electoral Acts, and indeed regulations and guidelines issued by INEC. These are the three governing laws. All these laws, they have the force of law that must be implemented fully, fairly, and impartially. With respect to the judgment of the Supreme Court, it's shocking that after all the historical judgment by the apex court, that because regulations and guidelines issued by INEC, they are made pursuant to the Constitution and indeed the Electoral Act, they have the force of law. They are subsidiary legislation. Because if you go to the first alteration of the Constitution that was brought about by the Jonathan regime, when he came to office, because of his votary for credible election, when his attention was drawn to section 160, as it was then, with respect to executive bodies set up under section 153 of the Constitution, it subjected INEC to the direction and control of the president at the federal level and at the state level with respect to SIEC. When that was brought to Jonathan's attention, they wanted freedom for the umpire. That led to the first alteration. And in that alteration, Nigerians should go and read it. It stated clearly that of all the executive bodies set up with respect to the Independent National Electoral Commission, its powers to make its own rules and regulate its own procedure shall not be subject to any authority, including the president. It's written there in the Constitution. Furthermore, section 148 of even the 2022 Electoral Act is unequivocal for the effect that the INEC, the Commission, shall have the power to issue regulation and guidelines to give effect to every provision of the Electoral Act which have to do with elections. This background knowledge is important to see the tragedy of the decision of the Supreme Court that has thrown everything in disarray, and that today we are arguing, debating what have belonged we settle. So, it is that decision that has informed the idea by members of the National Assembly when they worked together. In fact, I was so impressed, ab initio, that there was no partisan attitude in the effort in the current act. But shockingly, as we are getting to the end, there is now a division. Because they now wanted to ensure that the innovations that are put in, that have been developed to address historical challenges of election service delivery in the country should now be reflected in the Electoral Act.
Let me butt in quickly, Mr. Agini. I like to take up a few questions.
To land on that point, just to land on that point. It is that effort that has now led to the current debate that is going on with respect to the proviso that have been put in there, which is a replica of incident form, a reintroduction of incident form, and it's a recipe for chaos. And as we go on this program, I am going to give you details of how that is going to cause problem in the coming election, because there will be no network, since there is now a law to the effect that where there is no network, that is the point that needs to be noted.
And that is the point where I'm going to start my question. So for a lot of us who remember the card reader machine and how the law at the time gave the power, discretionary power, to INEC official on the field to say, should the card reader fail, you can revert to the incident form. And some people, like you mentioned, just went straight to the incident form and started filling it and padding it as it were at a time. But we graduated, we moved forward. But those will be asking that, because, and Senator Bayemi Bamdele has given, from his position as a majority leader, giving an analysis of our infrastructural problem, of how we have advanced technologically, and said, based on that, we need to give a corridor, a safe corridor, should technology fail, for us to give that discretion to say, if it fails, this will happen and that will happen. Do you agree with him?
I partly agree with him and partly disagree with him completely for the following reasons. The distinguished senator knows, as a lawyer, and we're on this common knowledge, that discretionary powers are susceptible to abuse. And as I speak to Nigerians tonight, I speak as someone who had field experience, who collectively with my colleagues carried out pilots across the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I've sent you some data to show, and I'm going to give more information on this, that we first and foremost identify election rigging provision in our laws. It took us 20 years for the National Assembly to accept to repeal those laws. Section 49, Section 53, which is now 51 in the 2022 Act, Section 49 of the old 2010 Act, which is now 47, Section 68 of the old Act, which is now Section 65, these were profound election rigging provisions. Specifically, with respect to Section 49, he stated that was in fact the rigging provision that political elite sustained for 20 years, despite all our effort to appeal that it should be repealed. He simply stated that a voter who approaches a presiding officer where he registered upon presentation of his voter's card, if the presiding officer is satisfied, that's the language, he will issue him or her a ballot paper. Because of that, politicians started buying voters' cards. All you require to do, compromise the presiding officer. After all, what satisfies him? It could have been the money that they are giving to him that will satisfy him. There was no objective means to identify a voter, because the credibility of election in a democracy of one person, one vote, one person should not have multiple votes. It was when we came on board that we decided to sanitize. When we discovered that the legislator was reluctant to do so, because first, you must understand that if those who are to make are going to be regulated by laws are the ones to make law, two things will happen. There will be statute capture and there will be statute sabotage. and I will give you details of statute sabotage. But with respect to this, it was against that background that we now, under the Jega leadership, we now introduce, first, recall that in 2011, we had to do separate accreditation, separate voting to deal with that section 49 that was the rigging, so that we could know who actually the voters. That was in 2011. Now, because we came in a very short period, by 2015, we now decided to have the innovation of the card reader. The card reader business was to identify, because we have now succeeded for the first time. You know, we can easily forget this in this country, that before we came on board, every election cycle, Nigerians are meant to come and register. 80 years old people who are registered, you must need to register. But we succeeded in the 4 tracks of the EVS system, which we did what we call the biometric registration of Nigerians successfully. With the biometric registration of Nigerians, we now introduce what we call the card reader as an identifier to identify, confirm, and authenticate. Now, when we now realize that people were having fingerprint issue, we now decided that how could you see a Nigerian, a citizen who has come before a presiding officer? You could see the name on the register of voter. But the only challenge was that we are not able to confirm. Of course, on the card reader, you could see his picture, but you cannot confirm his biometric. We now decided that, look, you know what? There should be what we call a special form to show, so that you can enter that special form, which is a discretion given to the presiding officer. Shaun, do you know what happened? In that card reader, we had an application because for inclusive electoral process, we took into account people who have lost their fingers, thumbprint. So there was an application in the card reader to take into account people like that. Do you know that in many places, the card reader was shut down? In most villages, they no longer have fingers anymore. A whole village, all fingers gone. They were now using that application, using incident form. That was what happened. Nigeria, have you forgotten the problem of incident form in Nigeria? By the time we were now going for the 2019 election, we now updated the software and the hardware of the card reader to get rid of incident form. That was what we did. Now, coming to the issue about transmission, which is now the discretion given to a presiding officer, let me give you a big background information to address the one aspect of the distinguished senator's statements about infrastructure. I hope that the commission will release its report of 2021. In that report, Shaun, it was clear that Nigeria was ready. In that, INEC and NCC, there was what a technical committee set up in preparation for e-transmission. In that committee that was set up, it was headed by one engineer, Obale Baska, including the National Commissioner, Mohammed Lekki. They were the co-chairmen. Their report, they came out with an interesting report that with 2G and 3G, we had 93% coverage across the Federal Republic of Nigeria, polling units where we could transmit results. Please, Shaun, I have put excerpts of that report showing Zamfara, Borno State, all those places, showing that we could transmit and all that. Based on that, the commission came out with a report and allocated polling units to the mobile network of operators, the MNOs, Airtel, Nine Mobile, MTN, and Glo. There were 4 at the cost of 395,123,000 for the purpose of SIM cards, data bundle, configuration, and so on. The commission was ready. But what was the problem? Section 52 of the 2010 Electoral Act prohibited the use of any electronic process in our elections in Nigeria. They put that in there. When we came in 2012, we made submission to the National Assembly to get rid of that. They refused to do so. And that is why I've always made a point that any society that fails to embrace innovations will face chaos and decay. Now, they refused to do that. Because of that, INEC had to find a way around it with scattered innovation. As a matter of fact, let me inform here that with respect to e-transmission, it may interest Nigeria to know that when I was the commissioner in Cross River State, the first pioneer effort, pilot that was carried out, was led by Chidi Uwanfo, that cerebral engineer in INEC, with his team of brilliant INEC engineers in the office under Jega. They came to Cross River State when we conducted Governor Lie Imoke's second term election. I sat in my office where I'm seated here. There was a dashboard, not even I read, there was a dashboard put in place in the 18 local government of Cross River State, from the ward level, using laptops, working with the telcos. Results were coming in, it was amazing. I was seeing the result, everybody was seeing the result. That led to our initiation of the big hall that we built in the INEC office across River, so that could be going on.
Mr. Igini, just quickly, because of time.
We refer to infrastructure. So
yeah.
refer to infrastructure.
Yeah.
For infrastructure, infrastructure is there 93 as of 2018. We are already ready for that. And INEC, in his concluding statement in that report, said that look, where we are ready. Left to us, our preference is for e-transmission. To put a proviso of this nature, having regard to our experience, that where there is no network, I bet you there will be no network in many places.
So, Mr. Igini,
yeah. Because I cannot be in a polling unit with a presiding officer. Nigeria cannot be a polling unit with a presiding officer where they can open their phone, they can see network, and the presiding officer says there's no network. That is going to be a problem. In any case, the beavers is configured both to operate online and offline. You must upload it. If there's no network within the immediate vicinity, and when you get to the next stage, it's going to hit the island.
With what they go on and with what you don't hear now, what you think about the movement of Biafra and how Nigeria they take go? On I think say we go still during that election period. Drop your thoughts at the comment section. And with what they go on in Nigeria now, what do you think? Drop your thought at the comment section. Me, I'm not really proud of the way the country is going, because that's the reason why Mazelan the Kalo they talk say let's get our own country and then do things in a rightful way. Everything about Nigeria, they know they follow rule of law. That's why in fact, I'm not going to just talk much. I'm not going to just want to talk much. Drop your opinion at the comment section. A lot really go on for this country. It's a shameful thing that we find ourselves in this type of situation where we say law go they talk something. The main people will be say where they rule laws go they do another thing, they do another different thing. Just because of their own selfish interest and to siphon money. How do we say they want the betterment of the citizens? All these things will be say electoral reform. How long does it take them? Now Nigerians youths or Nigeria people will be say they blame. Will be say anything where they talk, they go just follow on like that. Anything where they talk, they just swallow on like that. So I don't tire. I'm just really fed up. Just make they just divide this country. Make everybody just go. Manage in resources. Be like other countries. Other countries with the crave to be like other countries. With the in fact, if they get Biafra now that time we be say Nigeria go no say look at how country is supposed to be. I'm not going to talk much. Share your opinion at the comment section. Don't forget to click the subscribe button for more updates.